The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello?
Okay, can you hear me, Jim? Jim. Oh, hang on. Well, this is awkward. Jim, I'm going to come back to you if you can hang on just for a second. I think I am good to go. Organizer, presenter. Okay, let's do this. Let me see if I can get Charles Peloton on. And I don't see Charles. So I'm going to have to come back to him, too. Well, let's go to the next one. Jack. Well, you know what? We may go all the way through because I do see number 3, which is Barbara Zorzi. And let me see if I can get you muted. Barb, are you there?
Hi, Rich.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How's it going today?
Very good. We have a beautiful day up here today. 70 and sunny.
70 and sunny. And where are you, in Boston? Is that right?
Oh, Salem, Massachusetts. Yes, Boston area.
Boston. Okay. I remembered your name and being from Boston, but I guess it's your husband that has the thicker accent.
Yes, I'm actually from Vermont, so I speak like a normal, American citizen.
Okay, I would never dare say such a thing, but I'll let you say it since you're quote-unquote married to it. Because I was having a little bit of trouble getting a couple of the other guys, Charles, I see that you've hopped on. We've actually gone past you. We'll come back to you, so please just hold on. I'm also going to come back to Jim in just a minute. I see that you're now available, too. So let me go ahead and start with Barbara, and let me get your stuff up here on the screen. And tell me if this looks right about now.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, fantastic. So why don't you tell me about this, what you're trying to accomplish and so forth, and then we'll go from there.
This is a newsletter that we send to our customer base. We've got, through the years, we used to do it monthly, and then we did it quarterly, and now we're getting it out in like the spring and the fall. It's just, it's the expense of sending it out that has kind of made us do it twice a year. And we do a lot of other marketing to our customers, so we kind of, just decided that we were going to do it twice a year.
Right, and I just checked my notes because I did have a good conversation with you guys last week, and I see that you've got 51% repeat business.
Yes.
So this is a critical piece for you guys.
It is.
Okay, so this goes out twice a year, and can I assume there's 4 pages if I keep flipping here? There we go.
Yes. So that it's folded in half and then folded in half. It's like a, you know, like an 11 by 17, I want to say, size.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll tell you a couple things I like about it, just very quickly off the top of my head, sort of a knee-jerk reaction, okay? As I look at the inside, I kind of like this format for a newsletter because I find that when everything in the newsletter is strictly geared towards, hey, look at what we do and what we have for sale and stuff like that, that people tend to go, okay, this is boring. So I kind of like the recipe with Barbara Zorzi, and I kind of like the fact that it's a little bit personalized that way. They probably at least are familiar with you know, who you are. Maybe they don't know you personally, but I like that. The weird facts I kind of like also. Just stuff, factoids to take our ADD society and give them a couple things to look at. You got some movie tickets there. Now what I want to look at, it looks like pretty much everything inside here on the inside is not super related to what you sell. Is that true enough?
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Okay, so this A&A News, our featured employee is Jamie Starvos, and ostensibly she's the adult in the picture.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So let's leave that alone for right now, and let's take a look at the outside at some of the potentially more heavy-hitting stuff that you want to use to promote the business. A newsletter for the friends and neighbors of A&A Services. Welcome to our fall newsletter. To me, fall represents the end of summer when out. You see what I'm saying here?
What was that again, Rich?
I'm reading it as if I were a prospect.
Okay.
Hello, friends. Welcome to our fall newsletter. To me, fall represents the end of summer when it is first said to out.
Oh, God.
Well, it's not that I'm not saying, hey, what a boring, unapproachable, insufferable newsletter. I'm saying, okay, she's saying something about generically it's fall now. Okay, whatever. Let me see what else is on this newsletter that might be more interesting than that. Go green with A&A Services. The green color kind of captures my attention. Energy conservation is more than just a trend. All of our products are chosen. And then front page news. I'm just kind of trying to simulate the very quick perusal that people are going to give this, okay?
Okay.
We're all trying to spend our money wisely. Not knowing the future is the most frustrating part. See, it's the same thing. I'm probably going to tune out because I can't tell what it is that you're talking about. You're not getting immediately to the point. You've given me no headline to give me some kind of an idea of what's here. So I'm going to be more likely to very quickly just tune out.
Yeah.
And more likely, I'm going to look for things, scan the page, and try to find things that I feel might be interesting and or relevant to me. So as I start looking down here, save $49 per window, save $200 up an entry door. Okay, that sounds pretty good. If you'd like to supply us with your email address, we can get you the latest updated information from our company. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing because I'm going to put this as nicely as I possibly can, okay? I never promised to be nice on Tuesday morning ad clinics, but I'll try.
I knew what I was in for, so go ahead.
Hey, give us your email address and we'll send you more stuff that's probably pretty boring that you don't really care about.
Yeah.
Okay, now, that being said, here's what I want to do, and you know, it's good timing to talk to you because I am literally working on your identity today. We had an identity consultation last week. I've been on spring break and sick since then. Do I sound sick to you today?
What was that, Rich?
Do I sound sick today? I have this horrible allergy that has swept through here. I don't usually get spring allergies, but I've just been hammered since Thursday. Anyway, I'm about to work on this today. So I know this much. The identity of the company is heavily geared towards energy savings, energy improvement, and so forth. So I want to make sure that that comes through in everything you do, including this newsletter, okay?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If I said to you, well, first of all, let's look at it this way. The people that are getting this have bought from you before, right?
Yeah.
And what have they probably bought from you before? What's the most likely thing that they've bought from you before? I know that there's some guys that have bought one thing and others that have bought another. But what's the most likely thing that the largest percentage have bought from you?
I would say Windows is our big big one.
Okay. And how many of the people that have bought Windows from you, how many of the people that are getting this newsletter as a percentage would you say have bought Windows from you?
Oh, percentage-wise, maybe like...
Really rough ballpark. It doesn't matter. I mean, if it's...
I would like 40%.
40%. Okay, fantastic. And what do you think the next biggest category is by percentage?
Gutters.
And what percentage of people getting this gutters?
Probably 30% gutters.
Okay. And can I assume there's a little bit of overlap between the 40 and the 30%?
Yes.
Okay. Can I also assume that there's not necessarily a massive overlap, that while the 40 and 30% don't represent 70% of everybody getting this, it's probably, what, 50 or 60%?
I would say, yeah.
Okay. And just for fun with this game that we're playing here, give me the third category by percentage. What do you think?
Windows, gutters, and...
Insulation, maybe?
Yeah, insulation would be, yeah.
Okay.
We do siding and roofing, but I wouldn't say it's a large percentage. But the insulation, we just started doing it, and so it took off a little bit.
Yeah. Give me a percentage that are getting this that have probably done insulation.
20%.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, these things aren't critical down to the detailed percentage point. I just want to get a feel for, okay, I'm receiving this, and I want to have in mind as a John Smith, and as I'm writing this to gear towards John Smith, what is John Smith's experience with you? So a lot of people have bought Windows, a fair number have bought gutters, a fairly minority percentage have bought insulation. So that gives me some ideas of where I can go with this. The good thing is that the majority of the people that are getting this newsletter are going to need something. And so what I would probably want to do is feature on here some very specific thing that we can write in a very interesting way. So, for instance, let's take insulation, and I'm just going off of my notes here. Let me ask you this. Out of all these people that are getting this, how many have had the blower door test done to their house?
Not a large, like percentage of that 20%?
No, percentage of 100% of the receivers of this newsletter.
Not many. I'm going to say maybe 5%.
Okay. Now I know that that on our call last week that Chris said, hey, you know, I really don't like to do the blower door test as a free service because it tends to be taken advantage of. However, that might change a little bit if you're talking to your customers. I wonder if it would be interesting to feature this thing called the blower door test. I think to me, it's a very interesting, fascinating thing, especially when you show the picture of it. And for those who are a little bit less familiar, let me pull up the website so I can show this to people. How would I find your
It's
website?
a-aservices.com.
This is it, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Now, another thing that I'm keeping in mind as I go through this, come on, pull up, man. There we go. Where's that picture? There it is. I'm also keeping in mind the relatively low frequency of sending this newsletter out. If we're sending this newsletter out every single month, we'd have to get very, very ingenious and creative on this. Because we're only sending it out twice a year, we can almost pick 1 or 2 or 3 different major themes and we can just rotate them because, you know, the fourth one down the road is not going to be for 2 years. So it's okay to recycle ideas and concepts because they're not going to certainly remember it or at least be worn out on it. But I like this energy audit. And if we were to write an article that said something to the effect of, is your home energy, you know, energy fit? Our blower door test, there's a picture there so they can kind of immediately get some kind of interesting visual. Normally is, how much you normally charge for it again? $99?
Not $99 for the audit?
My notes say $99.
Yeah, that's what I said.
$99 for blower door test, but since you're a past customer, we'd like to do it for you for free and identify areas that might be in need of some help. Then I would go in and explain, here's what the blower door test is. Here's what it is. Here's how it works. Here's why we do it. Here's how long it takes. Here's what we're measuring. Here's what we're looking for. And here's the major things that we tend to find are problems. Number one, windows. Of course, if you've already bought windows from us before, hopefully, obviously, those are going to be fixed, but maybe you've got some additional windows. Number two, we find that air sealing and the attic air sealing and the insulation is an issue for almost everybody. And I would make this available for free to maybe, how many people is this going to be sent out to?
About 4,000.
Yeah, so maybe the first 50 people that call or something like that. You don't have to necessarily limit it. I like to put some kind of a limitation on it just so that people maybe have a little bit of a scarcity mentality of, oh, geez, I better do it now. Maybe you can even lower it to, 20, so it sounds like a very modest number. And the reality is, all you're trying to do is get back in their home for them to give you permission to tell them what they need to buy from you.
Right.
So what you want to do in this article, I'm going to flip back over. I'm actually just going to minimize this. Okay, so on this, instead of, look what you've got. You've got the top probably 30% of this essentially doesn't say anything. And then you get to the next 40%, and from a at a glance standpoint, it doesn't say anything either.
Yeah.
So what if we came in here and said, is your home energy fit? And I would put energy and fit, energy hyphen fit. I'd put that in quotation marks. And then I would put 45-minute, or I would put before that, unique 45-minute blower door test. Now watch this interesting use of language. What I want to do is just be precise with my language, okay? Anytime we're talking about writing, the three words that we want to guide us are power, precision, and passion, okay? Now here goes some precision. The word unique is an interesting, precise word. Unique, 45-minute blower door test. That's interesting.
Yep.
Pinpoints areas that may need improvement. Now, I've also employed a little technique here. I use the word may, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to not hit my customers over the head with a message of, hey, you guys suck and need help, call us, right? I'm trying to be a little bit more diplomatic because I'm treating them the way that you put on here. Newsletter for friends, neighbors of AA services. So since you're my friend and since you're my neighbor and since, I've talked to you guys and I believe that you truly feel that way. It's not just some, bull crap thing that you're saying to sound cool. I think you really feel that way. So let's treat them with a little respect. Unique 45-minute blower door test. The reason I put 45-minute in there is so that they can see that 45 minutes is a very specifically picked number. It shows that it's long enough that it's probably substantial, and it probably is going to yield some relevant, valuable information, but it's short enough that it's not going to take, my entire day and be a burden. So I like that. Unique 45-minute blower door test pinpoints areas that may need improvement. Hey, guess what's probably going to show up on your website?
What?
Probably something about a unique 45-minute blower door test that may pinpoint areas that need improvement, or something similar to that. Okay.
Yeah,
but, the idea here is we say this to our customers, then we come in and say, put the picture of the blower door. I love that picture because to me, I've never heard blower door. Whoops. I've never heard blower door, but when I see the picture, I go, wow, that's a door. There appears to be a blower, and I can see just from this little teeny picture that there's some kind of pressure happening there. Right. And so I want to then come in, here's the picture of it, and then I want to come in and say, the blower door test, we seal your home, it creates negative pressure, and then we measure with tools like infrared cameras and so forth to see, where there's areas. Then I would put areas of most likely, what's the word I want here? Areas of most likely.
Areas that may need improvement is what you had originally said?
Well, that's for the headline, okay?
There are areas that need to, I wrote it down.
Yeah, areas of most...
There's problems.
Areas most likely to need help. And then we just want to give them a little idea. Windows, attic ceiling, insulation. And then we just put a little paragraph there that it describes what those are. Not what a window is, but how it relates to the blower door test. We'll use our infrared camera. We'll be able to see. And if your windows are old, outdated, then this is an area where you may want to take some action. Attic ceiling. What you don't know is that even though your walls, are all throughout your house, they actually are conduits of taking cold air up to your attic, or hot air, I don't know, I can't remember which one it is, but whatever. Dirt probably depends on the season, right? Taking air straight up to your attic, which causes a problem, which with some foam ceiling can actually be very inexpensively and quickly solved. Insulation, even if you've got fiberglass insulation, the fact is that it's almost worthless. It needs to be coated with a layer of cellulose. Studies show, and our customers will attest, that adding even, I don't know what the number is, 12 inches of cellulose insulation can reduce your energy bills and increase your efficiency by blah, blah, blah %, right?
Right.
So here's what I've done. I've just told a very complete story. Hey, we've got this thing. It's kind of unique and interesting. It's going to help pinpoint. See how this is really defining your identity of being this energy company also?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and here's the areas. So I like this areas where you may need some improvement. This is really sort of a pre-positioning. It's a preconditioning. This goes back to something I like to do for dentists. If somebody is going to come into the dental office, I like to send a little bit of a pre-positioning package out to the new patient that says, hey, when you come in for your exam, especially if you're a new patient and you haven't been to the dentist for a while, we tend to find some problems. And here's some of the common problems that we tend to find for people that have not been into the dentist for a year or more. We tend to find some, X, Y, and Z, and these things tend to require this amount of treatment. And, hey, just so you know, we do offer financing. Now, we don't have to get into the dollars, and we don't have to get into the treatment, but in both cases, I think it's very similar that I want people to understand we're trying to uncover problems, and I don't want them to be surprised later on when we find problems and we hand them a quote that says, hey, we'll fix this for X dollars. I want them to sort of semi-expect that.
Right.
And I want them to feel like, think about the psychology going on here, Barb. This is very weird. They're almost going to feel victorious if the test shows that their house isn't up to snuff.
Right. Like, finally, we know what we have to do.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I need new windows. It's almost a win because they took the time and the effort to have you come over. And then I would put this test is normally $99, but for past customers, which is you, we'd be happy to do it for free, but we only have capacity to do it for free for the first 20 people who call. So if you'd like to, if you're interested, please give us a call. Because here's what this is going to create. This is going to create 20 high likelihood sales opportunities for you, and maybe even more.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. I like that approach.
And I always tell people this: don't put too much expectation into anything that you do. If we say it's limited to 20, you may have an expectation that, man, the second this hits, I'm going to get 20 calls and it's going to be awesome. You may get 5 or 10. You may not even get 20. On the other hand, you may get 50. And if you get 50, I'd say, hey, you know what, Mr. Johnson, we appreciate your call. In the newsletter, it limits it to the first 20. Unfortunately, you were actually about the 40 or 50th. But here's what we're going to do. If it's okay with you, we'd still want to do it for you. We still want to do it for free, but it's going to be about 2 weeks out. Is that going to be a problem?
Right.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's fine. Not a problem at all. Okay, great. Let me get it on the books. We'll call you, a week ahead of time to remind you, whatever. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, let's go back to your newsletter. I would do that on the front. I think that would take up most of the front. Maybe on. So
the front right is the actual front page, and the front to the left is that folded part that it's mailed to them, like it's folded in half.
That's the mailing side.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what I might do is this. I might tease it on the left side of this, and then I would go into, the full discussion over here on the right.
Okay.
Now, let's do this. Let's talk about the middle part. Recipe corner, slow cooker chicken. You know, I don't really think that's a very appropriate recipe. I'm totally kidding. I was just me being stupid. Sounds like a good recipe. Weird facts, that's good. Household handy tips. Here's your chance to win free movie tickets. One thing I like to do if Jack, who's also going to be participating today, is on this call, he heard the same advice from me. He's a realtor in Austin, and they have a newsletter they send out. And I said, you know what, if we're going to put something about our employees, let's try to get a little bit personal. We don't want to get, you know, super creepy personal and people, you know, knowing weird things that we'd rather not know about them. But here's what I like to do when I profile employees. I like to profile something about them that's a little bit more on a personal level, that maybe is something unusual about that person, something that they're proud of, not that they would want to hide from people, but something that's a little bit different or unique or unusual that we can then put a little bit of a headline. So instead of saying A&A News, see, to me that's a misnomer. It's not news, it's an employee profile, right?
Yeah, it is.
So maybe we make that a little bit smaller and put employee profile and then a little headline that says, you know, something like, you wouldn't know by looking, but our receptionist, Crystal, is a world-class javelin thrower, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have world-class javelin throwers on your staff. I'm saying that there's something that might be interesting. You know, her passion for horses is, you know, guides almost every decision she makes. Ever since she was a little girl, she's had horses and raised them, and now she's got 3 horses, one named Jack, one named Diane, and one named John Cougar, whatever.
Yeah, no, we had an employee who, like, fostered dogs, like he took in dogs to foster them, so we did our whole article on that. It was really interesting. People like that. Here's what people don't really care about, that she's a good employee and she's worked there a long time and she's helpful. I mean, okay, whatever. Here's what they want to know. They've got people there that are interesting, that are humans that I can connect with. People are always looking to connect, and you can extend that through here. So my advice on that is I put a headline that makes people want to read that, and I would talk about something a little bit personal, and just make sure that it's not too personal or too creepy or anything like that, because yeah,
you've got to protect the safety of your employees. You don't want to, you know, say things that would, especially female employees, and, you know, I'm looking at this picture and she's an attractive woman, and we just don't want anybody to go creepy on you, okay? That's all.
I get it, yeah.
Check out A&A Services on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. What are you waiting for? You know, what you may want to do is put, here's some of our recent tweets, here's some of our recent posts. Because here's one thing I hate about Facebook and Twitter as it relates to businesses, is almost nobody tweets anything that's very interesting. I'm not saying you. I have no idea what you're tweeting.
I don't think of it, but I mean, we do it through the business, but
they usually tweet stupid things that are either self-serving or boring or irrelevant. So first of all, let's make sure that we're tweeting and Facebooking things that are not boring and irrelevant, but by opposite definition are relevant and interesting. And then I might put a couple of examples, some of our recent tweets. That way people see that and go, oh, here's what I can expect if I actually go do that.
Okay.
Have you ever seen these kinds of offers? I mean, we see it all the time now. Hey, join us, you know, like us on Facebook or sign up to follow us on Twitter. And you never really quite know what you're going to get. It's like the proverbial box of chocolates.
Right.
And so, you know, why would I want to sign up with A Services? You know, maybe you put on there, you know, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We send out timely, relevant, and interesting information on energy savings. Here's some of our recent tweets. And then you put on there, you know, whatever your recent tweet was. Hopefully it was interesting. Otherwise people will go, wow, that's dumb. Why would I sign up? Okay.
And that's why they don't check in.
So let's recap everything here. On the inside, I like the quirky, interesting things. I like the personal level of the recipe from Barbara. Weird facts are always fun. I like that you've got it graphicked up a little bit there. It makes it kind of easy to see. household tips. I didn't really read those, but I'm assuming that they're relatively interesting. We talked about how to make the employee profile a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
What we want to do is the next time, but I remember there's something interesting about the employee, and then they see the headline and it says, you know, rescues dogs or whatever. They go, oh, well, let me see who this is. What we don't want is for them to go, oh, yeah, this seems boring. I remember from last time this was boring. On the front side, we want to talk about something that's very specific, something that's very concrete. We want it to relate to your identity, which is energy savings. If we were to do this again next 6 months, we would probably want to, you know, take another run at it and try something different.
Okay.
Maybe the next time around we would say, you know, maybe we would run some kind of a sale for previous customers on different types of things. I don't know. We'd have to think through it.
Right.
So I think that offer for the blower door test, I'd kind of make that almost standard.
Okay.
It really is kind of your gateway to having an intelligent conversation about their personal needs, right?
Right.
So that's just some quick info for you. I don't know if maybe you don't like that information.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I wasn't sure how badly I was going to get beat up on this call.
Oh, no, I usually don't beat up. But here's what I will do. You'll see from me within just a few days, you know, the website and stuff that we're working on. So I appreciate you hopping on today and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, let's go back. Let me see if Jim Story's still on here. Jim Story. All right. First of all, I'm going to mute Barbara. All right, you're muted. And we're going to go down here to Jim. Jim, are you there?
I'm here, Rich.
Hey, sorry about the mix-up at the beginning. I found out what happened is that you were fine and I was muted. And then by the time I got unmuted, you were, anyway, here we are.
Whatever, we're here now.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your website a little bit. I just took a few minutes this morning and sketched it out just to give you a feel for how it might look. I don't know if maybe you've already taken action and you're already past this point. Maybe this is too little too late, but I thought I'd show it to you. Let me see if I can pull this thing up, okay? Okay, here we go. Now this is going to read just like what we talked about, so there shouldn't be any major surprises here. It's not super dark because I do all my website sketches by hand with a pencil, and then I send them over to my designer to mock them up so they actually look like a real website. But this is kind of what it looks like. Can you see that okay on your screen? It appears to be a little bit faint.
No, I got it.
Okay, so by way of comparison, I had your website pulled up. Here's your current website, right?
Which we scrapped totally.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's just the generic, you threw it together in 10 minutes kind of thing. I get that. I understand. That's a big part of the reason we're having this discussion in the first place. But so we're kind of going from this. We go back over here to the new one. So I've got your logo up here. You know, I thought your logo was a little bit, I don't know, I don't love your logo. Let me put it to you that way. I thought of something express, maybe italicized, maybe that showed a little bit of motion. It's not a big deal. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't spend money on it. But anyway, at the top we've got sort of a generic header. I've got your phone number bigger so it's easier to read, your address. There's a link there to link to your office if they need that. The main navigation is a little bit different. We've got home, payroll, service comparison, savings calculator, FAQ, about us, and contact. The main headline, I've got a picture here. This doesn't necessarily have to be a picture of you. I kind of like the personal touch. I'm not hell-bent on making sure that I've got a picture of you or somebody else on there. But I did find I found sort of a generic, where was that guy? I found a generic stock photo of a guy. Let's see if I can find it. I can't find it. It doesn't matter. Let's go back to the sketch. And then I've got the headline that fills up a huge part of the top of it, which says, "Welcome to the wheel turn heaven and earth upside down to get your payroll on time, every time, no matter what payroll company." Can you hang on just 1 second?
Sure.
I mentioned earlier I've had an allergy blow through last Thursday, and it's still got me a little bit. Sorry about that. Then I got your name under here, Jim Story, founder. Underneath that, we've got a headline, sub-headline actually. It says, "Payroll is usually routine, but in those rare cases when you need immediate personal emergency service, we've got your back." There's some text under that where we would talk about that. Obviously, I haven't written it out. And then I've got this quote that kind of frames it at the bottom. "I'll personally drive an hour to deliver your payroll if necessary. I've done it before and we'll do it again. Jim Story." Not that you're offering to drive their payroll, but I'm just trying to give them a feel for this identity of, hey, we're going to make sure stuff gets done. I've got this little box here that calls out some of the things that go along with that: fast, flexible, and reliable. Fast, ready within an hour. Now, I don't think that you normally do it always within an hour, but it's available, right?
Right.
Okay. Flexible whenever you're ready. Online, fax, phone, email. Reliable. Never miss a payroll, no matter what, period. And then over here on the right, to emphasize this, I've got a red phone, kind of like an emergency phone. It says payroll emergency, question mark, call us now, customer testimonials, and then in parentheses under that it says people we've bailed out. So ostensibly, if they click that, they're going to see not just, hey, we love Payroll Express, but I would go and solicit from some of the customers that you've dealt with, that you've had to drive for an hour, that you've bailed out, or that the guy was sick and didn't get his payroll called in or whatever, and I would solicit 2 or 3 or 4 of those stories, and I would just write them up real quick.
Already did.
Okay, perfect. So that's what we want them to see when they click on that. Underneath that, it says specializing in, and then it says construction, and then industry 2, 3, and 4. I didn't know what those were, but I did want to make sure. I know that you specialize in construction as one of the major industries, and I want to make sure that when somebody that fits the major industries that you deal with comes onto this website, that they immediately go, oh, they do us. So
Okay.
is construction a pretty big part of your business, or is it actually quite small?
It's pretty small right now.
Okay, well, you can either customize those industry names to fit what you want to do or what you currently do, or if you don't feel like there's anything that fits those 2 categories, then maybe we just eliminate that.
Okay.
Up there at the top where it says payroll service comparison, I would like to have you compare on that page different types of payroll services, not necessarily by name, not ABC payroll, blows chunks, but maybe you compare national companies versus local companies versus you. I'd have to talk to you in more detail about exactly what kind of comparison, but I do want them to kind of get a feel for the flexibility, the timeliness, the reliability, the things that we're listing on the home page here. Then the savings calculator. We haven't really hit on the point that you're cheaper, because I don't think it's something that we want to necessarily put as our major identity piece, but it is something that's relevant. So we got a savings calculator there. If they clicked and went to that page, I would put a headline that said something to the effect of, yes, we're fast, yes, we're flexible, yes, we're reliable, but did you know that we're also 10 to 20% less expensive than other payroll providers? Use this calculator to see how much you could be saving. And I know from your existing site, you've already got some data on
Right.
on how much it costs right here, okay?
Right.
So I'd want to put some additional text, not just what you have here, but to give them an idea of what they could expect. So it's fairly simple. It's not like I've conducted brain surgery here, but what I've done is I've taken the things that we talked about on the 6th of March when we spoke last, and I've just integrated them as an identity into a home page for a website. Any questions?
Okay. Nope. When we started doing this, my guy, we got a lot of that in there already. I don't have the phone, but that'll be easy to work in. So once it's done, I'm going to shoot it over to you and get your opinion on it.
Outstanding. Good. I'm glad to hear that we're kind of on the same page, and we'll talk to you next time. I just wanted to run over that with you real quick.
Thanks, Rich. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. We'll talk to you next time, Jim. And meanwhile, we will go to, let me see, I'm going to mute out Jim. Let's see. Oh, Charles Peloton. I saw you on here a minute ago. There you are. Charles.
I'm on.
How you doing?
Good. I've been listening to everything.
Fantastic. What you don't know is that I've been working on your website in the last 24 hours.
Thank God.
So I feel like an old pro. Yeah, I got together with Ben. He sent the first draft over, and we sat down and went through it together, and it's looking real good. We've got a few minor edits that are happening right now, so you'll see that pretty soon. But we're on the right path, I think.
I hope so. I wish I'd done this 7 months ago.
Well, let me pull up what we've got in terms of the presentation. Okay, tell me what this is.
This is a Valpak ad that we've been putting out. We do a lot of money mailer and Valpak every month.
Okay, now the one on the screen is black. What is that one?
That's a different ad. This is in a magazine called the Weston Magazine Group. This goes to Greenwich, Connecticut, New Canaan, etc. It's a very high-end magazine that has home improvement contractors, $5 million homes for sale, jewelry, Rolexes, Maseratis, that type of thing.
Okay, which one do you want to tackle first, this one or the Valpak?
Makes no difference.
Okay, well, let's look at this one. Now, what struck me as we went through the website was, first of all, we've got to keep in mind that when we're talking website, we want to go heavy vendor selection. We want to talk about the identity of your company in terms of what you do, what you're all about, what people can expect when they do business with you. And it came down, it appeared to me to be heavily geared towards your guarantees and how they're actual guarantees, not bullcrap guarantees. True enough?
Correct.
Okay. Now, as we go into the Valpak and we go into this magazine, we want to just evaluate for a minute what we want to do based on these different target markets, because these are not necessarily now buyers. We go to the Valpak. I think the Valpak would be a little bit more geared towards a now buyer. This one here, maybe not so much. I don't know. What do you think?
Absolutely. This is more image building, somebody that might be thinking about doing something down the line. They're definitely not, even in the middle of the alphabet as far as making a decision.
Okay. That being the case, well, let's go over some of the stuff that we came up with for your website, okay? And let's see how we might want to put that in here. Let me pull it up on my computer here. All right, hang on just one split second. Okay. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so the headline for the website is, what is the headline for the website? I'm toggling a couple different things here, if you'll forgive me. It's always fun to listen to me looking for things on my computer. Okay, so our basement waterproofing system is guaranteed for life. So are my competitors. So what's the difference?
Yep.
Then we come in with what I call a crusher headline. And I came up with a couple different ones. I haven't really decided yet. We're kind of thinking through this. I think Ben actually already decided. But here's just a couple different versions of it. So just by way of restating what I just said, our basement waterproofing system is guaranteed for life. So are my competitors. What's the difference? So here's four choices. Their
Yeah,
guarantees are simply playing legal CYA in the fine print and don't actually protect anything. Or they bury the fact that their warranty is actually worthless in the fine print. Or my warranty covers every single imaginable problem for 15 full years. Theirs covers practically nothing after all the legal mumbo-jumbo. Or theirs is full of legal BS that absolves them of any real liability.
yeah, and the last one's fine.
Okay. Theirs is full of legal BS. You know, and when you start saying stuff like BS, you kind of have to take a step back and decide, is that really what I want to say? I think that the phrase BS, I think it's not necessarily going to be offensive to anybody, but I am a little bit concerned about the severe lack of formality. It's very informal, right?
Yeah,
So
the CYA is probably better, and our guarantee is for as long as you own the home and transferable. But yeah.
Okay, so it's not 15 years.
No. Some of our competitors have 10 years of absolutely nothing, or lifetime of the structure of nothing. Our guarantee is for as long as you own the home, the wall, the floor, everything dry. It actually says that. And when you sell the home to one other owner, it's transferable to them for as long as they live there.
Okay, good. So, so that's kind of where we're heading on the website. Then we've got a paragraph that says something like, whenever somebody buys one of those other guaranteed for life basement waterproofing systems, I just about blow my top. The problem with the lifetime warranty is the fine print. If you look closely, it'll see, and it goes into some of the details. We don't need to go through that in detail on this call. The idea here, though, is simply to say we want to explain where those problems are. As we get into other parts of the website and ostensibly different parts of the ad, we want to compare, you know, and I don't have enough information right now to say for sure, but one of the things I'd want to do is compare different waterproofing methods. I'm assuming that the methodology that you use is better and more effective than others.
Yes.
It's not simply a lack of willingness to stand behind the work. It's actually a different methodology that makes it less effective, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and without getting into the details for this call, because it's not super important for our purposes, generally speaking, how many different methods of waterproofing are there? There's yours, and then how many others?
There's probably 3.
Okay, 3.
Okay, ours and 2 others.
Okay, good. So what we'd want to do is we'd want to have some kind of a comparison side by side that says, here's what we do. Again, I'm sure we could get into a fantastic discussion about the nuances of yours and theirs sucks and yours is great. For our purposes, let's just assume that we could come up with, here's what we do, here's what they do, here's where theirs is weak, here's the other method, here's where theirs is even weaker than method 2, and so forth, right?
Exactly.
Then also one thing we want to do is we want to compare side by side the warranty. So I want to see an actual copy of your warranty versus a copy of the competitor's warranties so that I can point out the legal mumbo-jumbo BS, CYA bullcrap.
Yep.
And so there's kind of where we're heading with all this, but now let's go back to this ad.
There's one other, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I want to hear you one other thing.
One other thing that we do that's so different, which is pushing us towards the green side, is this Hydrostone, which is the little plastic that we put into our system. And we're getting ready to do some videos that shows how that makes our system better than anything out there.
What is it called? Hydro what?
Hydrostone.
Now, to talk at a more macro level, is that part of your methodology?
Yes.
Okay, so we could get into that methodology. Again, for purpose of this call, it's not necessary to get into that, but
okay.
I just want to make sure that that is under the header of here's our methodology. It includes this thing that you just mentioned, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so now we come back over to your ad. Let's see where we're at now. Wet basement, mold, most effective system guaranteed. Thinking of finishing your basement, waterproof it first. Basement waterproofing with lifetime warranty, 30 years construction. See, and this is, I know you know this, and I know that's why you're here talking to me in the first place, but we get into sounding just like everybody else because everybody else is guaranteed. You know, if you have a wet basement, mold, that's not really even news to anybody. It's not like somebody saw this and went, well, wait a second. Let me go down to my basement and check and see if it's wet. Wow, hey, now that you mentioned it, it is kind of wet. Mold, let me check for that. Wow, I hadn't realized it. There is mold there. I mean, you're talking about things that people already either know they kind of have a problem or aren't going to identify with your ad anyway. Maybe they have the problem, they just don't know it. But those people are going to be nearly impossible to reach, because why would you think you have a problem that you're not aware that you have?
That's true.
I like to put it this way. Get a piece of paper and a pencil, and I want you to make a list of everything that you're currently not aware of. It's a really short list, right?
Yeah.
Now, there is something that says, well, benefits of ownership. We could come in and we could say, look for these 5 signs that your basement is wet and moldy and potentially causing health and other problems. I think that there's room for that, but I would probably be more interested in that approach as I got more into a multi-touch type campaign that's going to require a different media than this every so often magazine ad that's going to appear. In other words, let's say that I was on the radio, and I'm not trying to push you into the radio, but just by way of example, if I was on the radio and I was on, say, 2 or 3 stations in your market that hit your target market, and I was talking to those people 3, 6, 10, 15 times a day throughout the day on those stations, and therefore I'd want to mix up my messages a little bit, I would definitely talk about guarantees and how other companies are playing these games, and how if you look and, hey, come to our website, we'll show you the difference, and don't be fooled, and here's what a real guarantee is. And I would put probably some large percentage of my weight into that major identity hot button that you're talking about. But I would also take a smaller percentage, and I would talk about how to tell if your basement is having a problem. And here's some signs that you may not even be aware of. Or, hey, I know you think your basement's wet and it's not a big deal, but really there's some health issues that you need to consider. Whatever those things are, I don't actually really know exactly what they are, but you kind of get the idea of the direction that I'm going there, right?
And what's fascinating is people run dehumidifiers and they don't realize that's the first step of the problem.
Yeah, so hey, if you're running a dehumidifier. So if I was in more of a multi-touch environment, I would get into some of those benefits of ownership, helping people understand that they need the service in the first place. For our purposes here, can I assume that this particular ad that's on the screen now runs fairly infrequently?
Yes. This magazine comes out 3 times a year. I bought a full page, and I won't go into how much, but it was ridiculously cheap. Okay?
So what I might do there is I might just try my very best to skim any now buyers that happen to be in there. Now, any message that you put that really focuses in on the identity like we've just discussed is still going to have impact on future buyers. But if they're not ready to buy right now, it's not going to make them pick up the phone. So I would probably just go the same route as the website on this particular ad and talk about guarantees and how we're different and better and how these other companies rip you off. Now, when I was talking to Ben, he said that you're very passionate about this. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other methods actually don't work, which is why they don't give a warranty. And people will go spend $10,000 to put a system in, then put in a basement like this for $150,000, and then lose the whole thing possibly a year or 2 years later.
And my understanding is that you're at the point now, you personally, where it really makes you furious that these other guys do that.
And just for your benefit, you'll love this, it drives me crazy because the guy that sells this garbage has basically monopolized the marketplace by educating the consumer by sending him a 60-page book and then supposedly convincing people he's the expert and then selling them something that doesn't work.
What's your price point compared to him?
Maybe 10% higher, and I should be at least 30.
Okay, so, and what's the average ticket for this service? You mentioned 10,000.
8,000, 9,000.
Okay, so we're in the 8,000 to 12,000 range.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what area are you in?
Connecticut, the entire state of Connecticut, metropolitan New York City, meaning New York, Long Island, Westchester, and northern New Jersey.
Wow, you cover a lot of geography, don't you?
Yep, I got 3 licenses. I'm in 3 states.
And if you don't mind me asking, what's the general vicinity of the annual revenue of the company?
Around $2 million.
Okay. And with your sights on getting how big?
3 times that.
$6 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because, you know, the way I see that, we're going to take a step back from this ad for just a minute and talk more macro level marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get into. There's always this big jump from being the guy that's in the Valpak and buying the pay-per-click ads and putting an ad in a magazine like this to being the guy that starts to advertise in an area, in a media that really starts to have a more ongoing impact on a larger number of people. And the reason that is because it's expensive. So you take a $2 million company and you say, okay, I want you to spend, I want you to spend 20% of your next $2 million in sales, and you say, I can't afford it. I just can't, there's just no way to afford it. So I'm asking you, okay, spend $400,000 in marketing. You say, well, I can't do that, and I understand that I'm not telling you to do it, but hopefully what we can do is find ways through the Now Buyer channels, through the internet, getting more educated buyers coming to you, increase your sales, that you can start to say, okay, as I'm hitting 2.5, 3 million, 3.5 million, you can say, okay, instead of stuffing all this extra money in my pockets, because that's what it would be, extra money, right?
Right.
I'm going to start to allocate a portion of this towards a monopolize your campaign, monopolize your marketplace campaign, where I'm literally going to start taking over certain geographies, and I'm going to start pounding those marketplaces with messaging, so that when people hear me over and over and over, I'm going to start to educate them that they need the service and that I'm better, and I'm going to start to take over. But it's going to take time and it's going to take money. So just keep that in mind.
Almost 150,000, maybe more last year. So.
Yeah, but here's the difference. So if you spend $150,000 on $2 million in sales, that's 7.5%.
Yeah.
And what I'm telling you is to go to $4 million. See, here's what happens. Especially when you get your website fixed, you're going to start to capture about all the business that's available that you can get from the internet. Right now you're probably missing some because your website's not strong. People search. I don't know if they're finding you when they search or not. That's a whole different issue that needs to be addressed. But let's assume that you get your website where it needs to be and you get your search to where it works, people actually find you, then your conversions are going to go up. But here's the problem with that. It's limited. There's only so many people that are looking for this service. So if you can capture more, here's what will happen. You'll get those people at a very low acquisition cost. I mean, how much is it going to cost you to get your website up to snuff? Not very much in the grand scheme of your business. How much is it going to cost to buy the clicks and to get the SEO in place to where people find you? It's going to cost some, but it's not going to cost that much.
Right.
So you're going to max out at a certain level because there's only so many clicks available. There's so many conversions available, and of course you start tweaking it, but it's that old thing where you walk halfway to the wall and pretty soon you're so close to the wall that halfway is a minuscule distance. Then you got to set your sights higher and say, okay, I want to start taking over bigger chunks of the market, and you have to get into the nurturing game. And it's expensive. So let's say you can get up to $3 million on the same $150,000 in marketing costs, or maybe you bring it up to $200,000 and your percentage actually goes down to 6%. Well, you know what? To get from 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 million, it might take 20% of the incremental sales that you don't even have yet. Yeah, but I want your eyes to be open so that you understand that.
No, I do. I do.
Okay, so back to the ad. Hopefully that discussion was helpful for you, and if not for you, at least other people on the call. But let's take a look at this ad. So I would go into this particular ad. It runs 3 times per year. I would just go strictly vendor selection. Here's why we're better. Here's why we're different, along the lines of what we've already talked about, some of the headlines and so forth. Some of the it's one page. You don't have a lot of room to go into all the detail, so you would then naturally want to send people over to your website for more information. You know, to see a side-by-side comparison of our guarantee versus our competitors, visit us at xyz.com. To see a comparison of the 3 major methodologies for basement waterproofing, including the 2 that absolutely don't work and are a complete waste of money, you know, visit our website. But we have more general discussion on the ad itself.
Absolutely. I like that approach.
One of the things I wanted to do on this is I like to use a little bit of sarcasm sometimes. Not silly, not ridiculous, not offensive, but it's a little bit fun. So one thing we might do is we might put a little box that compares our warranty versus typical warranties. And under their warranties, this is where we get a little bit sarcastic. So typical warranties, and then we might put some bullet points like identify and define what the word manufacturer defect means. Next, try to figure out exactly what a manufacturer defect actually is. Next, realize that the workmanship is not guaranteed. Next, wish that you had not wasted your money on a warranty that doesn't actually cover you.
Yep.
You see how that goes? And then under our warranty, you know, everything is 100% covered for the entire lifetime of the home, no exceptions, no fine print, no ifs, no ands, no buts, that's it. Right? And so it takes in sort of a graphical, bullet-pointed, I'll even use the word fun. My definition of fun and other people's will probably be different, but in sort of an easy-to-read, graphically illustrative, bullet point, semi-sarcastic, fun way, it just drills this point even deeper that our warranty is real and theirs is crap.
Yeah, I'm with it. I like it. There'll be some people that don't, but I like it.
Well, you know what? Here's what happens when we do things the way that we're talking about here. I say to you, let's create a website. I put together a website. I show it to you. We go back and forth a couple times until it's exactly right. Boom, done. Then when I come over here and I start writing this ad, guess what I pretty much do? I pretty much just lift the website and I put in the ad. Why? Because that's what we're all about. Why would it be different in the ad than it is on the website? Now, here's the distinction that I want you to make. Hopefully you heard this earlier and you're saying to yourself right now, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Website is a single touch environment. We've got to do the heavy lifting and selling right there on the spot. We don't have a second chance. This ad is the same thing. That's why the ad and the website would be essentially the same message. And that's why if I went into a multi-touch environment, radio, maybe an ongoing newspaper campaign, television, something like that, we're going to start introducing different types of messages that focus maybe on benefits of ownership somewhat. We're going to take the idea of the warranty and the guarantee, and we're going to explore it from a couple of different angles because we've got so many different opportunities to touch them and talk to them. But when we're in this single-touch environment, I mean, we're going to lower the full hammer on them. It's an 18-pound sledge, and it's coming hard.
Listen, absolutely, because as you've said in all your stuff, everybody thinks we're all the same.
Well, and the main issue I want you to make the distinction on here is yeah, the website and yeah, this ad, we're going to draw from essentially the same pool of information. They're going to look very similar because why would they be different?
Totally agree.
Okay, so as we get into the Valpak, you know, it becomes the same kind of thing. Does Valpak tend to work well for you?
The Valpak works okay. Money Mailer, because which I didn't send, actually has almost, you know, an interrupter. It's got wet basement mold. You know, it's almost interrupts their mind a little bit. It actually works better.
Okay.
There's no, you know, there's no more education. There's no more engaging, and there's no real offer other than the free inspection. But
now,
they do work, and they should work a lot better.
One thing you've got to be careful of when you start putting these kinds of ads out there is some of the publishers may take exception with your message.
Yep.
Because it may look negatively or poorly on their other customers that are your competitors. Back in the olden days,
yeah,
when Yellow Pages was what Google is now, we would face this a lot where we'd write a really killer Yellow Pages ad and the Yellow Pages would refuse to run it.
Yeah, I do Yellow Pages. I do a pay-per-call, and it's just, you know, the same old, you know, Costanza ad. And,
well, the point being, you may write an ad that's a little bit stronger, saying, hey, this is not the headline of the ad, but the thrust of the ad is, hey, these other companies are selling you a crappy system with a sucky warranty. You say it probably nicer than that. But the Valpak may come back and say, hey, you know what, I'm not running that ad because my other customers, which your competitors, are going to be pissed.
We'll see. I'm a big customer.
Just be aware. Just have your eyes open for that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this Valpak ad is the same kind of thing. I would just assume that the person that's seeing this has not seen my ad before. If they have, fantastic. If they haven't, I want to hit them with the full thrust.
Yeah.
You know, what I would probably do on this ad is on the front, to the extent possible. I know we have a very limited amount of space, but I would talk about the warranties, and on the back, to the extent possible, I would talk about the methodologies. Yeah, because the reality is you have such a good warranty because your methodology works, right?
That's exactly it. That's
Okay.
why the other ones don't have it.
And so I would want to explain that, you know, here's our methodology. I mean, these two things go hand in hand with one another.
Yep. And the mold's a very big hot button today. People can't, for some reason, can't realize the mold's caused by water, which is strange as could be, but it's the truth. So when they see mold, you know, they definitely go into beta. They start to, oh yeah, man, I do have the mold. I got the kids. I got to worry about all this, and I need to know why and how to fix it.
Okay. Well, any specific questions you want to ask me on this, or probably if you can hang out for another day, we'll have that website mock-up over to you, and then we can just start to pull from it.
Absolutely. And I
every day.
can. This will probably go out, I think, have a little time before we have to redo both the money mailer and this, and the other one's in May.
Okay, well, I had the discussion with Ben last night. He resubmitted the edits to the designer this morning, so I'd anticipate seeing those today later on.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Well,
no,
hey,
and I definitely want to get a consistent message, at least in the beginning, to these outlets.
yes. Okay, well, thanks for participating, and also thanks for being a new customer. We appreciate that.
You have no idea how much I'm enjoying this.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Jack. I see Lauren. Lauren, is that you? Lauren?
Can you hear me, Rich?
I can. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Long time no talk.
It has been a while. We've been busy.
Yeah, I've kind of missed our weekly SmackDown sessions.
Yeah. I was pretty much on every one for a while there.
Okay, I've got a postcard review from you, and that would necessitate me finding the postcards probably. Let me see if I've got those. I'm sure I do.
I know that Jack wants to be on this call. Let me go see where he's at. This is...
Okay. Hmm.
Oh, he says that you're on the call. He's on the call, Rich.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can find him here. Oh, yeah, there he is, Jack Miller. Hey, Jack, you're unmuted now.
Oh, great. Hi, Rich. It's great talking to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you also. By the way, thank you very much for that video testimonial. That was very thoughtful of you to send that over.
Oh, you're welcome. It's I think people that haven't been to the workshop are really missing out because it was a big change for us to attend.
Well, good. I'm glad that we could be of service to you. I am just now realizing that I don't seem to have your postcards. Is there any way I could get you to just email this to me directly right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on 1 second.
Was this an 8 megabyte attachment by chance?
I don't know if it was. I'm not sure if it was that big. It's a PDF. It shouldn't be that big because it's not a high design file. It's just wireframe.
Okay.
So,
Judy had mentioned an attachment, and then I just realized I didn't actually get it. So there was a breakdown there for some reason. I apologize.
and Rich, what's the best address? Is it?
Just send it to rharshaw at mymonline.com.
Okay, there you are. All right, I'm attaching it right now. There we go. Yeah, the file is called, it's only 204K. It's not huge. And it's called Seller 90-Day Sprint.
Okay, let me check my email. I've got that email that's set up to only check when I tell it to, so as to minimize distractions.
I just hit the trigger on it, so you should have it any second now.
Isn't it funny how email takes like 20 seconds to get there? We're like, come on!
And we're frustrated by it. It's like we used to have to wait forever to get messages to people.
Yeah, it's our lazy society. It's like when you go to the gas pump and the little kickstand that holds it up for you is broken. You just, like, get a cramp in your wrist. It's just, we're horrible human beings. But mostly me, not you. Okay, I've got it here, Jack.
Perfect.
Okay, here it comes over onto the screen. And you should be seeing that right about now.
Okay, great. Yes, I'm seeing it.
Okay, why don't you give me a quick overview of what we're trying to accomplish here, et cetera.
So what we're doing, this is a little bit different campaign because we're in a market situation in Austin where we're at a very low inventory level. There's just not enough homes for sale here in Austin. And I think what happened was, part of why I'm bringing this messaging is just to validate my thinking or help me think more powerfully about it, is that many people put their homes on the market, 18 months ago or 2 years ago, and had a really tough time because there just weren't many buyers. And so I think a lot of the people that tried to sell had a bad experience. And then there's kind of a background of like, oh, the real estate market's not so great, and et cetera. Well, we're seeing the exact opposite of that in our brokerage. We can't keep inventory. It is just flying off the shelves.
The price is going up as a result?
Prices are going up. We're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing our list-to-sell ratio has improved substantially, and overall, throughout the market, it's gone up. So people are getting their list price, and we've had some go over list. And we're in a stronger negotiating position with buyers who come to buy our properties just because there are not many homes for sale. So the purpose of this campaign is, the purpose I have for it is to handle the objection that people may have developed just from reading the national news and that the market's bad and it's a bad time to sell and all of that, and also to produce some competitive differentiation because, even in this situation, we're negotiating better deals for our clients. We're producing almost $10,000 more, and we did that last year on each deal that we sell. So we're producing a better financial outcome for our sellers, and we're also, even though the market is selling pretty fast, we're selling even faster than the market. So our properties are just almost literally flying off the shelves. I mean, we have things where we put them on the market for 12 hours and we have offers. So that's the situation, and this campaign is a 90-day campaign to neighborhoods that we've sent direct mail to before that we want to educate people and let them know that the market really has moved over to a seller's market, and that now if they were considering selling, thinking they couldn't, now is a time to reconsider and to look at that as an option.
Here's my concern with what you've got here, is that we're overcomplicating things by probably, not by 100%, but probably by about 30% overcomplicating it.
Okay.
Because the message is very straightforward. It's a very easy to understand message, and when you start bringing in data to back up this easy to understand message, graph showing 5-year low inventory, big arrow pointing to the low level of inventory. So now I'm going to make somebody interpret a graph, and you say, well, that's not such a big deal. Why is that so hard? Well, I said it's only about 30% too complicated. It's not super bad. But here's what I'm thinking. Let's just go in and let's use our plain English skills to just say what we want people to know. I think it can be very powerful. So some of the things, also down here, 3 reasons why now is the best time to sell in 5 years. Again, just a little bit overcomplicated, and I know it's so easy to write this and to know exactly what you mean and to have all the full details of what you're trying to communicate. But I mean, look at this: 3 reasons why now is the best time to sell in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
This could be interpreted in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the best time to sell in 5 years from now, or 5, 3. Now it's like my favorite bank in Chicago, the Fifth Third Bank. We've got like these numbers that just like, what, huh? And obviously, obviously, Jack, people can take this, they can read it, they're intelligent human beings, they can understand what you mean. But let's just make it even that much easier. Because look at what you've done here. Number one, bottom line, there are not enough ready-to-buy homes on the market to satisfy demand. This is kind of broker talk. There are not enough ready-to-buy homes. Well, what's a ready-to-buy home? Am I supposed to know what a ready? Is that different than just a home?
Yeah, we struggle with that one because the homes that are really moving are ones that they're staged, they've been fixed up.
Yeah, but you don't care about that. Good. You don't care about that. You just want the guy to call, right? You'll figure out if it needs to be staged or whatever the deal is later. On the market to satisfy demand. Okay, let me go back to my economics class and decide what that means. Again, I'm over-exaggerating that point to make the point. I don't want you to feel like I'm saying this is horrible. It's not. I just think that we can probably say this with a lot of very simple clarity. But I do want to read through the other things you've got on here. 185 people are moving to Austin every day, creating constant housing demand. Rental rates and occupancy are at historic highs for Austin, creating tremendous sales demand for buying homes. What we're seeing. Okay, so let's get into simple ways to say this and get away from relatively hard ways to say this. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play the game that we always play on these calls, where I'm just going to talk through it without necessarily writing the headlines, and then we'll see if we can kind of push it into a headline sooner or later, okay? So something like, if you tried and failed to sell your home, let me just type these on the screen. Might as well type them instead of writing them. Then we can play with them a little bit. If you tried and failed to sell your home in the last few years, why few? Because that's probably the time frame. I'm not trying to say 2 years, and then they say, well, I was 2.5 years. I'm trying to keep it purposely vague there. If you tried and failed to sell your home in the last few years, now is the time to try again. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my notes, which are on the other side of this piece of paper. We are now getting literally multiple offers, or we don't have enough homes for sale. It's finally a seller's market again, or homes are, this is a funny way to say this because I'm going to put the word literally and then I'm going to use a figurative phrase. Homes are literally flying off the shelf, which is technically not true. If you tried and failed to sell your home in the last few years, now is the time to try again. And any of these concepts can be used as a standalone concept as well. We're now getting literally multiple offers. I just want to say stuff in a headline that people go, oh, the market's recovered. Okay, I get it.
Do you think we can throw out, like, we don't need to provide grounding on the card? I mean, if people are triggered by that and want more, they'll call us or they'll visit our website where we do have some of the statistics and data.
Yeah, I don't think this is the kind of thing where people are going to assume that you're lying to them for your own profitability. I mean, Can I assume that there's somewhat of a buzz in Austin about this on the news, whatever?
No, there isn't. That's the deal, is that it's not being talked about. We have a newsletter to our database that's going to go out, and it's the main story because we don't see it being talked about right now. We see that, and the Austin news market republishes so much of the national real estate news that is not great news. And every once in a while they'll run a local story where it's like, hey, it seems like, but it's really not. When we talk to people who call us, or they don't know.
You know what, though? Here's what I would do, okay? And this is something that may be a little bit hard, a little bit difficult, but I would put massive mental focus on this for the next 24 hours. This is the story that the local news would love to report. They're so tired of saying that the economy sucks and we're going to war and the presidential campaigns are negative and people are getting shot and all this negative crap they always have to deal with. If you could go to them and say, hey, I've got a story for you that I can't believe is underreported, but if you want, you can run with this, and I can provide you with all the statistics and information to show you that it's absolutely true. And I might even try to provide some data. Now, this isn't necessarily, hey, I want to shove this down consumers' throats, but I think the news channel would love this. If you could show some kind of statistical data that shows that Austin is above and beyond other markets, and particularly, you know, I don't know this for a fact, but I assume that Austin loves it when they get a win over Dallas or Houston.
There's a little bit of that, not as much as there has been in the past, but there's a little bit of that to say, like, hey, we're leading the Texas recovery. You know.
Well, you know, we're not only leading the national recovery, we're also better than other towns in Texas. To me, Jack, this is a story that news anchors would be falling over themselves to get.
Yeah.
Yet it's just sitting there for anybody to take. So if you can instigate it and you can provide some data, not only would that help stimulate the market maybe to a certain extent, but it would also give you some good exposure. But I want you to just come up with 25 headlines that simply recount that the market is recovered. If you've tried to sell your home last few years, now is the time to try again. We're getting literally multiple offers. We don't have enough homes for sale. It's finally a seller's market again. Homes are literally flying off the shelf. No need to wait for the housing recovery.
Okay. Yep. Well, so
here
just
right now.
Yeah, just simplify that story and the same message, you know, in just with different headlines. Okay. And then what do you think? I mean, so we get say we get some strong headlines for the front of the postcard that tell that story. I'm gonna do that. And then what goes on the back? I mean, how do we? Call us if you want more information. And
well, I mean, look what you're trying to accomplish. So what do you want to have happen with this postcard? We want two questions. What do you want somebody to know, and what do you want them to do? I want them to know that if they're thinking about selling their house, it's a great time to do it because they're going to be able to sell it faster and for more money.
Yeah.
What I want them to do, I want them to call me to discuss it. And so, you know, we can sell it for. Understand, you're sending the postcard. It's not like they're going to say, oh, well, fantastic, let's go call Jill down the street. They're going to call you because you're the one bringing in them this news.
Okay, great. Well, you just made the postcard designs a lot easier to do.
You know what? When in doubt, simplify.
Yeah.
When in doubt, simplify. You're over here trying to build this rock-solid, bulletproof case, and the jury's going, it's obvious. We watched the video. He had the gun. He shot her. She fell down. We had 32 witnesses. We immediately apprehended the person that did it. There they are. We get it.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Home prices are up more than $10,000 compared to just 2 years ago. Multiple offers are the normal now. Homes selling in as little as 12 hours.
Yeah.
7 days on average. You know, whatever. I don't know the numbers. You do.
Yeah.
But
there's like 60% of the homes selling right now are on the market less than 60 days. And 44% of the homes that are on the market right now, they're selling in 30 days or less.
And you guys are even better than average. I know that.
And
so
we're doing about 50% better in both. So
yeah, so just simplify this a little bit, and I think you can hit home runs with this.
Okay.
How many people are you going to send it to?
We have an initial list of 2,200 homes that we're going to send it to. These are neighborhoods that have been getting branded direct mail from us for years. If the message goes well, like if we send out a few of the postcards and we're seeing responses, we have another database to send it to that's a little broader that we mail to less frequently. But we want to test first with friendly territory.
Okay, yeah. Send that thing out there. I'd probably send, maybe a couple different ones to see which one works best. Maybe a little bit of repetition in a couple cases to see if that helps.
Yeah.
And then, call for free analysis, or what would you say in that case?
I would say call for an assessment of your home. And
is it something can you do a quick assessment over the phone?
We can. We definitely can.
How long does it take?
10 minutes, really. It's not
okay.
long.
So I would call for a
10-minute,
9-minute assessment.
Yeah, 9-minute assessment. Which we get their address, we look up their neighborhood. I can tell them in minutes, here's what's happening in that market. I can tell you in 9 minutes less if your home will sell, how fast it will sell, and how much you can get for it. Yep.
And okay, that's a pretty bold claim. But I'm just going based on what I know about you, Jack. I believe you probably feel pretty confident that you can deliver on that promise.
Oh, I have zero concern about that. We have 3 people on our seller team. This is all they do.
I'm talking about just over the phone, just looking up cursory data. You could say, look, obviously there's going to be factors. If your home is in poor shape or if it's staged, that helps. But based on what we do, and assuming that there's not, massive disrepair, things like that, I'm looking at your home being able to sell within 20 to 30 days, maybe even less, and based on its square footage of 3,800 square feet, I'm going to guess that it's going to sell from anywhere from, whatever to whatever, and it's just not going to stay on the market long. This house is going to be snapped up, and if you let us stage it the way we do it, I can tell you this, you'll get $10,000 more for it than you will if you try it yourself.
Yep.
And here's what the guy's going to do. How do I sign up, Jack?
Yeah.
Now,
we just lowered the entry to the floor. So it's just, you just walk right in, just pick up the phone, just call, and we'll tell you.
Well, here's what I don't want as a homeowner. I don't want some bullcrap dog and pony show from some jackwagon realtor, because we all know how we hate realtors, and they all suck, and they're going to come over and all this crap. Hey, I can tell you in 9 minutes. Just call me on the phone. If you decide that you want to do something, fantastic. If you don't want to, no harm, no foul. You'll just get mailings from us forever. But anyway, keep it simple, man. You got a great situation. You've got the world is your oyster right now. Go make $1 billion.
I will. Thanks, Rich. I really appreciate it.
All right. Good to talk to you again. You too, Lauren. We'll talk to you guys soon, hopefully. And that's it. We're going to be back on Thursday, this Thursday, 2 days from now, the 22nd, Innovation Hour. We're going to talk about innovation formulas, Part 3. In January and February, we went through Part 1 and Part 2, and it's just a sufficiently detailed topic that it's taken us 3 times to work through it. I'm also going to have the Insiders Open Forum. This is something that has historically not been very well, the attendance has been okay, but people haven't submitted things. Anything that you want to talk about, sales strategies, marketing strategies, budgeting, anything, any question you have, get on that call. Let's talk about it, and that'll happen at 11:30 Central Time on Thursday. So we'll talk to you then. Thanks so much for participating today. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.